Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got my bro Chillmont back on here. Haven't had him on for a while. He's been busy, and I've had a computer problem on top of a computer problem, which I finally got resolved. And Bambi's in the house.
Bambi's
ready to roll, which is always good.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the Vols. It looks like they're going to play Iowa in the Citrus Bowl. Let me pull that up. Yes, Iowa to face Tennessee in bowl game. Hawkeyes draw SEC opponent in the Citrus Bowl, which is, I don't think, a good matchup for Iowa. I think that's a good matchup for us.
I think it's a very good matchup for us. They don't have much of an offense, and they, like we were talking about, they rely on their defense, and that actually kind of helps us since our defense has been pretty well decimated, as you know.
Yeah, let's see here. That's a New Year's Day, January 1st. I believe it's at 1 o'clock. So, yeah, it looks like January. I think that's a good bowl for us, better than I was expecting. I was thinking Gator Bowl against North Carolina or NC State. Iowa's a pretty good club. Their offense is pedestrian at best.
Yeah,
they average 16.6 points a game, which is tragic. But they've got a great defense.
Terrible.
That is terrible. But they play like, is it 1975 again?
I guess they must be running the single wing or something.
Oh my gosh! I think it's
their quarterback has more interceptions than touchdowns, and I think he's got like 6 touchdowns, but he's got like 22 sacks.
Yeah.
So apparently their offensive line is not great either.
Yeah. Let's take a look at their stats here, Chillmont.
Okay.
All right, folks. Let's see here. Yeah, total points per game 16.6 is what they score. Let's see what their defense is doing. Yeah, Hawkeyes allow 13.2 points a contest, the 4th fewest in the land. So they got a great defense, whereas we give up 22 points, which is, about what we were last year. And, of course, we're not scoring like we were. We're scoring in the low 30s. We were scoring 46.
Yeah, our defense was on the field a lot less last year, I think, just because we were so effective on offense.
Yeah, we were scoring like crazy last year. This year we have not been. So – I think that's actually a really good matchup for us. I don't know how much we'll score on them, but they're not going to score a lot on it. They just don't score, period, a whole lot.
This is it, Beavis. We're finally going to score. Thank God.
Yeah, I don't know how good their rushing's not that great. They've got one guy's got 800 yards rushing on the season, but a little over 16 points a game would get you pretty much dead last in the SEC. They're in the Big Ten. They're in the Western Division, though, which
that's easy. Yeah, they're in the easy part of the Big Ten, the Western Division.
Exactly.
That's the easy part.
Yeah, they're not in the same division with Michigan.
Yeah, how can a team that scores 16 points a game win their division?
10 games.
That's nuts. That's really nuts.
I'd unfriend you.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
So, which explains why it really boils down to Michigan's got to beat Penn State and Ohio State, or vice versa for Ohio State, and they get in the playoff. That's just you got to win one tough game and then one kind of tough game, and then the rest you just do whatever you want.
Yep, and we're adding another 2 very tough teams starting next year in Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, Big Ten is starting to add some good teams though, because they're adding Oregon and USC, maybe one other. I think they were adding 3 or 4, but those are the 2 that jumped out at me. So anyway, what do you think about Florida State? What do you think about Alabama and all that getting into the playoff?
Well, again, it's the ACC. They're just not a very good conference, and FSU with 1 loss.
FSU's undefeated.
I apologize. They're undefeated, but who have they beaten that's really any good?
How dare you?
Would Alabama lose to A&M? Is that who they lost to?
No, they lost to Texas, who is the number 3.
Oh, Texas. Yeah, and they're number 3. You can't really argue with that. And they beat some very good teams. So, and plus it's Alabama. Yeah, I mean everybody knows they're good. And then they just beat number 1 Georgia.
He beat Joe Lewis's ass.
That's right. He did whoop your Lewis ass.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge win. You should get in if you beat the number 1 team in the playoff like that in the bowl game.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, the truth is, I'd be tickled if they didn't get in because I don't like Alabama, not as bad as Florida, because they're the worst team in the world. They deserved it. I think they did. I hate to say it. I hate to be positive about them and Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, they deserve to get in.
Well, here's the thing, Chilmont. Florida State's the commissioner of the ACC fought the 12-team playoff this year. He didn't want it this year, so they would be in. But he didn't want that, and now he's annoyed over it. The reality is if they had their starting quarterback, they'd be in. But without their quarterback, they're just not the same team. They looked pedestrian with their backup, and they look super pedestrian with their freshman backup.
And I'm telling you, the committees, they're all about the Big Ten. They're the USCs, the Notre Dames of the world, and those teams, and that's who they want in. And they almost got their way. They almost got SEC out of the playoff completely.
It's close.
Don't think they didn't want that.
Well, you know what? Had that quarterback not gotten hurt, there'd be no SEC team in there, which is ridiculous. That's why we need the 12-team playoff, because I knew eventually the SEC would get creaked because we beat each other up. We play really tough schedules normally, so it was only a matter of time before the SEC got creaked. So with the 12-team playoff, we'll be fine. We'll get 4 teams in every year, and we'll continue to dominate.
But like us next year, like you said, Michigan has to beat Ohio State. That's pretty much it. And Penn State happened to be decent, but they're not that great. They're in a terrible conference, and they don't play anybody really that difficult. Next year we have to play Alabama and Georgia
Again.
and Oklahoma and Florida and Kentucky, and we don't get LSU next year, thankfully. But we've got like 5 top 25 teams that we have to play every year.
The hard part is having 2 top 5 teams that we always play, which is
2
Georgia and Alabama. That's
teams.
what's tough, is to play 2 legitimate top 5 teams that aren't top 5 just because they have an easy schedule. They're top 5 because they are top 5.
Because they're the 2 of the best in the country.
Usually 1 and 2.
Yeah, they're usually 1 and 2, and for good reason. They're really, really good. They have top 5 recruiting classes every year. They reload every year.
Well, it's usually 1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, and they've got 5 stars at every position, and backups who are 5 stars. So they've got the Jimmies and Joes more than anybody else. Now the NIL has leveled that a little bit, but they still get the top quality players out there.
Yeah, because we picked up the number 1 player out of Alabama is coming to us next year, and then also a player out of Georgia, which is a 5-star. So NIL's leveling the playing field. See, Missouri got a 5-star. Ole Miss got a 5-star. They'd have never got those guys.
No, they would all been to like Ohio State or Michigan or
Alabama,
Georgia or Alabama, or USC or whatever. But we can get an occasional, hopefully a couple of them 5 stars now, because that does level the playing field. Plus, we're better than we were a few years back, and offensively, everybody knows Heupel's a top offensive coach, and they want to play for him.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with Nico next year. I don't know if he'll get to play in the bowl game or not. I don't know what Joe's going to do. But I think with Nico in charge of the offense, along with Heupel and our offensive prowess, we'll get back to scoring 40 points a game, and I think we'll be really strong. Got to keep Nico healthy. But look, that's every quarterback. You got to keep all the quarterbacks healthy. It's just the way that it is.
Well, like you said, FSU, they lost their quarterback, and they may get beat in their bowl game.
Well, and you can't have 2 and 3 backups the way you used to back in the day, because they're going to transfer out. Once they realize they're not the starting quarterback, they're gone.
Yeah, because somebody's going to be calling them, hey, you want to be the starter? Come here and make $500,000 or $1 million. Come on.
That's exactly what's going to happen. That's why, like I said, it's tough. You're not going to be able to stack them up.
But I think one thing we're going to get from Nico that I'm really looking forward to is much more consistency.
Yeah, I think he'll be fine. Like I said, I hope we get to see him. I'd love to see him start the bowl game if Joe decides to get ready for the combine, but he might not. If he doesn't, then so be it. We'll see him next year.
A good bowl game down in warm weather, Orlando. Yeah. Might try to get down there for that.
Yeah, it's looking good, All right, folks, just wanted to go over the bowl game we were talking about, get Chilmont back on the program. Of course, Bambi. You never want to leave Bambi out too long. No. Nobody puts Bambi in a corner. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover our Vols, of course, the SEC, and all the goings-ons in the NCAA. If you've not subscribed, it is on your right, my left. Just hit that little button. And based on your viewing history, there's a video right there that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay and Chilmont.